Dear Diary, it's been a near perfect start to the season here at Cardiff, picking up where we left off last season. We backed up our opening day win over Huddersfield with a strong 3-0 home victory against Luton Town, but then dropped points against Millwall away from home in a scoreless draw where we probably should have won. Still, we are up the right end of the table early and also into the second round of the Carabao Cup, where our rotation players will get a run against Fylde from League 2. Then in the Championship, it's our first serious test of the season against Wigan, currently on top with 3 wins from 3. Also, deadline day is coming up and I'd like to move a few players on so we have a shot at getting the young Qatari star of the club. Hopefully, we can work something out. Until next time. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 46 of FMOE here on Shaun Does FM with Cardiff City, and coming up today it's the second episode of season 5 here of this save, and we do take on Fylde from League 2 in the Carabao Cup away from home in the second round, and off the back of that Wigan in the Championship currently on top before we might do some business on deadline day. So if you are looking forward to what could be quite a big episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. We've played 2 games off the back of our first 2 that we did play of the season in yesterday's episode. If you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it in the top right corner. We picked up a very routine 3-0 win at home against Luton Town, continuing some good form that we built up last season against those guys. An early goal to Marco Brun as well as a late one, and Callum Robinson also scored around about the 15-minute mark, and that made sure we picked up a very comfortable 3 points to make it 2 wins from 2 in the Championship. But then in our next game, a little bit more disappointing, certainly a game that we were on top of Millwall in, but we just couldn't find the back of the net, and we do drop our first points of the season, albeit it was away from home, so somewhat understandable, but would have been nice to get 3 points out of that one as well and stay in that fight for top of the table early on in the season. But the good news is so far we have not lost any games. We're on 7 points in 4th spots already in a playoff place. And comparing that to last season when we did take over Cardiff in early December, they did only have 21 points at that stage. So 3 games into the season, we are already a third of the way to where they were in a couple of months' time. So we should end up being in a much stronger position than when we took these guys over in December last season. And hopefully that does mean we can put ourselves right in the fight, hopefully, for one of those automatic promotion spots. But first up today, we do enter the second round of the Carabao Cup off the back of that win on penalties in yesterday's episode against Sheffield Wednesday. And in theory, this does look like an easier tie as we take on a team newly promoted from the National League, and that is Fylde. They've had a decent start in League 2, albeit they have dropped points in those 2 games off the back of that opening day win over Gillingham, but they do still look like a team which we might have to respect a little bit. But as I said, considering that we did get the job done against Sheffield Wednesday, this is a weaker team, so hopefully our rotation team perform a little bit better than they did in that game during regular time, and we can make our way through to the third round of this Carabao Cup as the board are expecting of us. The one thing I will say, when I do have a look at their team a little bit earlier, they do have an interesting name on their books, do AFC Fylde, and that is a Football Manager legend in Regan Booty. We did have him at Caversham all the way back on the Hexagon Challenge series that we did do when I was starting out this channel, so he's probably a player if he starts. We do need to keep an eye out on having joined these guys off the back of spells at Maidstone United and at Fleetwood, but hopefully, if that's the quality of player that we have to worry about, we should be in good nick here, even with that rotation team coming out again, the same team that did play that second game in yesterday's episode. Interesting to see that Booty is wanted by Swindon Town, so maybe he's going to make another move, but we'll come back shortly and hopefully make our way through to the third round of the Carabao Cup as we take on Fylde from Mill Farm. And here are the team sheets for the second round clash in the Carabao Cup. There are Fylde at home, they'll be in the white, and as you can see, Regan Booty is starting in the defensive midfield, so probably a player we need to keep an eye out on. There we are, as we mentioned before, pretty much the same team that did play in that second game of yesterday's episode. Hopefully this time we can score a goal during regular time and make our way through to the third round. And 30 minutes into this one, we get our first highlight, which is a throw-in here for Fylde, but thankfully Goodmanson does win that ball back, albeit gives it straight back to a Fylde player, and they play that one over to Holgate in central defence. Pretty sure that's not the same Holgate that we're all thinking it is formerly of Everton, but so far, neither team with a shot in this game. We have gone to a positive mindset, taking on a team from down the pyramid, but we might need to change that if things aren't working. But we do keep the ball. Bit of an interesting tackle there on Savinho, but thankfully Molinas does do quite well to keep that ball for us. We try and ping that one out right to Gordon, and does quite well to win it back. Might be able to square that one for Atete, but took the shot on himself and forces a decent save there out of the Fylde goalkeepers. There's the first chance in this one, and now it is a corner which Molinas is going to put into the mixer, but unfortunately no one gets their head on that for us, albeit Gordon did win the ball back briefly, but now Maxwell tries to do something on the counter-attack. Good foul that from Jacques, and still 0-0, 10 minutes shy of half-time. And that is half-time in the second round Carabao Cup clash. It was an absolutely dreadful first half, only 2 shots. Thankfully, both of them did come from us, but I'd certainly hope for more on a positive mindset, so maybe we need to go attacking for the second half, and also quite a few players out there have picked up yellow cards, so we might take those players off. Coventry will come on for Renamotta. Dujon Sterling can get some game time at left back for Goodmanson, and also Callum Robinson for Jacques. And as I said, we might go attacking for the second half, and hopefully that will give us a bit more potency going forward, as we'll get things back underway. Still locked up at 0-0. And only a few minutes into the second half, we do clear the ball deep here, and Atete might be able to get on the end of that before the Fylde goalkeeper. He clears that one away. Gordon gets it back, but that was a sneaky chance potentially for us there. But Atete just couldn't quite get there before the goalkeeper. But now Gordon puts the ball into the mixer for him, and this time Keon Atete will find the back of the net, and maybe an attacking mentality was all we needed to grab some goals with this backup team. We go 1-0 up very early in the second half, and hopefully we can push on from here and grab a few more in the second half. It's a lovely ball that from Gordon, and Atete tucks that one away nicely like he did for the most part last season, and we go 1-0 up here in the second round of the Carabao Cup. And 10 minutes off the back of that opening goal, it is now Fylde here to get a chance to play out from the back, but thankfully Nelson heads that one forward to Molinas, and it gets played back to Ditta. We get a chance here to just consolidate possession, and Shaun here tries to make his way out from the back, although that's terrible. It's Alisson-like. It's Hugo Lloris-like. That's a shocker. He was so good for us in that penalty shootout yesterday, but there he has just gifted Fylde a goal. But it's okay, because goalkeepers are fine in Football Manager 2023. Yeah, that one stings. Not too sure what I can do about that with a goalkeeper on defend. Defend goalkeeper. 1-1 at the hour mark. And a few minutes off the back of that absolute shocker from the goalkeeper, we're going to make a substitution. Unfortunately, we didn't actually put the other goalkeeper on the bench. We can't take him off, but Savinho, yet again, not going too well. It's taking a bit of time, it looks like, to settle in here at Cardiff, and Rails can come on for him. So that will be our first choice midfield combination, and hopefully we can grab a winner inside this last half hour. And only a few minutes off the back of that previous substitution, we are now going to make our last one. Perry Ing is going okay out there. Is our captain for this one, albeit Joe Rails now is on the field, so he probably took that over. Ben Hardy can come on for Ing. That's our last sub, and hopefully we get our act into gear and grab a winner in these last 20 minutes as we put a few more players onto attacking duty. And inside the last 5 minutes of this one, it is a corner here for Fylde off the back of us just lifting our lines to both high, just to see if we can put a bit more pressure here on this Fylde outfit. But for now, they do keep the ball. Nelson heads that one away just as it looks like Fylde might get a shot off, and hopefully here Sterling can get something going for us down this left-hand side. Robinson plays it back for him, but that pass over the top, too much on it, and it does give Fylde here a chance to play out from the back. If not for that goalkeeping shocker, we might be in a decent situation. Not a great header away there from Ditta. They put that into the mixer. Tyrese Omatoi puts that in the back of the net. and we might be bowing out of the Carabao Cup here to a team newly promoted from League 2 that is not a good header away from Ditter. And it gives Senior the chance there to put that ball into the mixer. Nice header there into that bottom left corner. And Fylde have turned this one around off the back of us, grabbing a lead early in the second half. We're going to be a bit more direct now with our passing, be more expressive, and also we are going to tell the boys to go a bit wider in attack as well, and also put a lot more players on attacking duty, and hopefully something happens here in injury time. And there is a highlight, a throw-in, albeit deep inside our own half. Coventry here is on the ball. It's not a good pass, and Fylde might get one more chance here through Maxwell. Decent effort. Kime wasn't going to get to that, but it does just go wide. But we're going deep into this one, and it looks like the rotation team won't get much more football until the FA Cup potentially, because they've absolutely stuffed that one up, losing 2-1 away at Fylde from League 2, only recently promoted from the National League. I felt like we should have put that game to bed, but that shocker from Heim, which did give Fylde the equaliser, did have a pretty big bearing on that result. We probably could have played a little bit more normally off the back of that and gone to our usual balanced mindset, but I did think against League 2 opposition we should be good enough to kick on. But unfortunately that goalkeeping howler did give them a chance, and they took that chance as well in the last few minutes when we did lift our lines up a bit more, and we do suffer probably our most embarrassing defeat so far of this save. We get knocked out of the Carabao Cup in the second round by Fylde of League 2. So not a great start to today's episode. They're getting knocked out of the Carabao Cup by a team 2 divisions below us and also newly promoted from the National League. Not too sure if some of those players in the second team will see too much more football until the FA Cup potentially, so that's not good for them. They've blown their chances there of trying to stake their claim for some first team football, but hopefully now that we are at home we can bounce back. And also I may have restarted the game to try and change the luck modifier, because those previous 2 games, they were the 2 that I have played since I previously restarted the game, and neither of those results I was too happy about. So we'll see if that does help things out. But we are about to take on Wigan. They are a team doing quite well early doors. They were top of the table before Nottingham Forest did pick up a win in their early kickoff, but they are a team who are actually predicted to finish right at the bottom, newly promoted from League 1, so they're certainly outperforming their expectations. Early on it looks like they are playing a 5-2-1-2, and they've had some players in quite good form as well. The likes of Aitchison and Surridge have been picking up quite a few goals in those first couple of rounds, but hopefully we can give them a little bit of a reality check here back at home and pick up some points in the championship, and hopefully keep ourselves right in the hunt for one of those automatic promotion spots. And also for this game we are going back to our first choice 11, as you might expect off the back of that previous defeat, and we'll come back shortly with some championship action as we take on Wigan from Cardiff City Stadium. And here are the team sheets for this championship clash. We have just made a few late changes in this one. Both Ing and Juckelis will come in for Hardy and Robinson. Both of those players a little bit injury prone, heavy workload at the moment, so we'll give those guys some game time in their place. And there are Wigan with that 5-2-1-2 formation that we were expecting, and hopefully we can pick up 3 points here at home and jump above them on that championship table. And we have a highlight here immediately from kickoff. It is Wigan in the black uniforms who do kick this one off. We are in our all blue, as you are quite familiar with at this point of the save, and already Wigan do look quite dangerous here with some short passing, almost looking a little bit Barcelona-like in the early stages of this one. Hopefully that does not persist throughout the remainder of this game, but they're certainly playing some good short passes and stretching us a little bit. Early chance here for Leo, but thankfully that shot goes straight into the path of Mexado, and it does still remain 0-0 early. And 6 minutes into this one, we have our next highlight as a free kick in our favour, which we do take short, and hopefully we might get a chance here. Now, apparently Ingnia was onside, even though he didn't quite look it, but Wigan here do struggle to clear their lines. Good chance there for Colwell, but unfortunately that one goes a little bit high and wide. Good chance now for either team, but still 0-0 at the 10-minute mark. And it's been a big break in action in this one until the next highlight, 44 minutes into this one, to just shy of half-time, and Wigan try and play their way out from the back, off the back of a throw, but that ball a little bit loose, and Mateju is there to tidy things up for us at left back. Now Rouse will hold things up. Nice ball over here for Jacques. We'll try and square this one for someone. A little bit of aerial ping pong here inside the box in a dangerous area. Jacques in the end goes for a shot himself, but that one goes just over the bar. And that does mean we are going into the sheds locked up at 0-0. Just had the edge of things in terms of overall shots, but XG exactly the same. And apart from that, most of the other stats as well are quite even, with a few more corners, Wigan committing a few more fouls. But really, so far, quite an even game. And yet again, struggling to put the ball in the back of the net, it does look like, during regular time in these games. So hopefully that changes in the second half. A few players out there are on average ratings, and also there's some players out there on yellow cards as well. So we're going to take off Marco Blun on a 6.4. Keona Tete will come on for him, and also Connor Coventry on a 6.5. Renamotta can come on for him, and we'll see if that improves things in the second half. Still locked up at 0-0. And just shy of 10 minutes into the second half, we do get an early throw in here. It is inside the opposition half as well, and Tete does have the ball here right on the edge of the box. Bit of a dangerous tackle there from Potts. We do keep it. Mateju finds Renamotta. Doesn't opt to shoot, which is interesting, but Perry Ing puts this one into the mixer for a Tete, but unfortunately his header goes over the bar and still locked up at 0-0. And just past the hour mark, we do have a corner in this one. Rowles puts it into the mixer, and it's going to be set piece FC in this one, because to be fair, we've struggled to score from open play. Maybe that's what we need, more of these set pieces. And Mark McGuinness scores his first goal of the season, putting that one away nicely in that left-hand corner of the goalkeeper, not getting anywhere near that one. And we finally take a 1-0 lead. And only a few minutes off the back of that opening goal for us, we're going to make some changes here. I think it's probably safe now that we do take off Rowles. Also, Cos, he has picked up an orange injury, so we're going to give him a rest, of course, off the back of him picking up an injury in yesterday's episode, which he has only just recovered from. Curtis Nelson can play defensive midfield from the bench, so I think we'll bring him on for Joe Rowles. And also, we do have Ruben Colwell still coming back from injury and only going okay out there on a 6.5. Aaron Malinos can come on for him off the back of a decent start to his time here at Cardiff City, off the back of taking a 1-0 lead. And 10 minutes off the back of those previous substitutions, we are going to make our last one now. Perry Ing is down to a red heart. Ben Hardy will risk for these last 20 minutes, hopefully does not pick up an injury. Also, Jacques on a red heart, but I think with a 1-0 lead, Hardy might be the safer option in this situation. That's all of our subs used. We are still 1-0 up. And we've entered the last few minutes of this game looking to hold on to our 1-0 lead. There was a throw in there for Wigan around the halfway line, but thankfully we do win that ball and might get a chance here as Jacques makes his way into the box. Can he square this for someone? Actually takes the deflection there, and Bentley does do well to keep that one out of his net at fairly short notice, but that does mean we do have a corner down the right end of the field as Malinos takes plenty of time here on this one, just waiting to see how much injury time we do have. As you can see there, though, briefly above my head, this result would see us move up to second on the championship table. Unfortunately, no one gets their head on the end of that, but we are going deep now into injury time, and it wasn't the most entertaining game, but thankfully we get back on track off the back of that previous loss in the Carabao Cup against Fylde, and that is thanks to a Mark McGuinness header in the second half, and thankfully we do pick up all 3 points, because stats-wise, in the second half, we certainly got right on top in that game. So thankfully, no more drop points, and we do pick up a narrow, albeit I think well-earned, 1-0 win there against Wigan. And as you saw before, that does mean we do jump above them now to second on the table, 2 points behind Nottingham Forest, who have played an extra game early doors in this championship season. Will come back shortly. I think future Shaun might come back shortly, and we'll start to run you guys through some deadline day business. And we are back just prior to transfer deadline day with some action that hopefully will get completed on the course of that day, which is just 24 hours away in game. As you can see, we did put an early bid in for that Qatari defensive midfielder, come attacking midfielder, who we did look at during the transfer episode at the start of last week there. He has a few missed out on him. As you can see, he looks really, really good. So what we did do, because he wasn't interested in a transfer immediately, is we put in a bid for him for a loan with a mandatory future fee. We initially suggested 2.5 million to Al Wakla out of Qatar. They rejected that flat out. So when we next did our suggestion, it was for £5 million for a mandatory future fee. They then came back to us and said that they would settle for a deal worth £3.3 million. So for some reason, they talked themselves out of £1.7 million there, albeit apparently the transfer might actually rise to £8.25 million if that was the case. Not too sure how that would work out because there were no percentage of next sales or other clauses included in that deal, but they do of course accept that mandatory future fee of £3.3 million, and that means that we do get the chance here to negotiate a contract with Khalid Al-Bloshi, albeit he does have major reservations about negotiating terms with us, so we might have to give him quite a bit if we are to get this young Qatari star to join us here at Cardiff City. Now, I'll admit I have done a trial run of this just to see if we could get by with him just being a star player. That was not the case. What we're going to do is assign him as a free kick taker because he's quite good at those. Also include a minimum fee release clause because I do think that might be something which might persuade him here to join us at Cardiff. Also, send him on an intensive language course. We'll play him in his preferred role, which does mean we might have to change the tactic. We're going to set our aims for the season, reach the playoffs next season, gain promotion to the Premier League. First time of asking, he did get rid of that free kick taker one, and apart from that we can go ahead. So hopefully we get rid of some of these appearance fees and we can just now start to tinker with things a little bit here and try and get Al-Bloshi a contract which will make him leave Qatar and join us here at Cardiff City. And I think I'm just about ready to send this one through to him and hope that he does accept. So there are the top half of the terms. As you can see, some pretty big bonuses there for winning various competitions. Also a goal bonus, an assist bonus. There's a team of the year bonus as well, which he probably will trigger quite a bit in this division. And going down to the next block of these bonuses and clauses, will give him a top division promotion wage rise if we do reach the Premier League, a seasonal landmark for 20 goals and assists of 50k. The minimum fee release clause is 16.25 million. Not that bad for a player who we are going to spend 3.3 million on, so I don't mind that. And we'll also give him 20% of the profit from our sell-on fee percentage, so that isn't actually in the end going to hurt us too much, I think, and hopefully just make sure this deal is good enough for him as well as us, that he does accept it and hopefully decides to come here to Cardiff City. So we'll suggest terms. He agrees to it straight away. It was a 20k wage with around about £750,000 signing on bonus. So hopefully that deal does go through. He doesn't pull out of that one on deadline day and we can sign the young Qatari star. And we've gone for a few clicks off the back of that contract offer for the Qatari star. And there you can see it is in amongst the deadline day headline here before we do take part. Those other two deals and rumours, definitely not ones that we are going to do. That one deal, I think, is the only incoming one that we might do here on transfer deadline day. Xavier Benjamin is in our under-21s, is a player I would like to get rid of, albeit his transfer value is around about £800,000. So that is quite undersold there. If York City are going to go after him, we'll click on take part and you'll be able to see the other players who we have put up for transfer. As mentioned over the last few episodes, Alex Patterson, we would like to get rid of these days. That transfer value is at 1.7 million. Definitely someone that we would like to get rid of, especially if we do bring in Al-Bloshi out of Qatar. And also Xavier Simons, we are going to try and loan him out so we get some game time to reach that potential. Otherwise, if he doesn't start to get towards it, might be a player at 23 years old who we do decide to sell in a later transfer window. And in terms of players who are attracting interest, Ales Mateju is wanted. If we go and have a look by Al Wada, that is the same club we are getting this Qatari midfielder off. So maybe that's something that we could work with that transfer value being similar, apart from the fact, of course, he doesn't actually want to join us on transfer, just wants to do it on loan at the moment. So it's a little bit tricky with trying to get that player to join us. And also Mark McGuinness, wanted by Rangers. We'll see if any bids do come in for those two players. They are both part of our first choice starting 11 here at Cardiff City. So it's going to need to be quite good bids if we are to get rid of those guys. And we'll see if anything does occur here on transfer deadline day. So far with 9 hours to go on transfer deadline day, we have had no bids come in for our players, any decent ones. Anyway, the only semi-serious one was a loan bid from St Mirren for Keon Atete. No chance, but El Bloshi did accept our contract, has got a work permit after appeal, but we can't fund it because our transfer budget for next season is under 6.5 million. I don't know where that amount is coming from because the future fee is £3.3 million. I don't know if we can get this deal over the line. What we are going to do is delay this for now. I've already gone to the board in the finance section and asked them to increase next season's transfer budget. It is currently at £2.5 million, around that mark. So we're not that far off that actual mandatory future fee. I'm just not too sure if we can get it high enough for the supposed £6.5 million that would be coming out for this deal that should be worth £3.3 million. Certainly something I haven't encountered before in Football Manager in the past. I'm pretty sure you could just throw any number there and it wouldn't matter what your transfer budget is for next season, as it could get offset by some future sales. But it does look like this might make this deal a little bit hard to do unless we sell some players here on deadline day. But as I said, nothing doing yet, so we'll come back with an update on that, or if we get any bids on some of our current players that might give us the funds to make that deal a goer. And we've gone all the way forward to only having 45 minutes left in this transfer deadline day, and unfortunately the loan has been cancelled with that mandatory future fee, which would have been, I think, an absolute bargain of 3.3 million. I'm still not too sure where the 6.5 million is coming from, but it still would have been a great price for a player who definitely would have been good enough for the Premier League if we did get there, and I dare say that would have happened over the next few seasons. It's a shame too, because we did end up giving him a contract that he would have accepted, but our transfer budget for next season not big enough to make that deal go through, and the board haven't come back to us yet with an increase or a response to our request for an increase in that transfer budget. I suppose if they come back soon, we could always do a deal like this in January, but he might be worth a little bit more by that stage, and also some big clubs could be after him. But unfortunately, our deal for El Bloshi is not going to go through, and that probably means, seeing as so far still no bids for any of our players, that nothing is going to happen on deadline day. And going forward a few more clicks, and indeed, unfortunately for us, nothing happening there on deadline day. So close to signing that young Qatari midfielder, but the transfer budget for next season got in the way. We probably could have actually got the funds to do that deal, because this season we ended up with £4 million to spend, even though last season when we got here, the minimum transfer budget guaranteed was only £400,000. So I'm not too sure if it actually would have been an issue, but unfortunately FM for some reason not letting us do that deal, probably financially responsible, but I really wanted him. So that kind of sucks, and also we did not get rid of any players to our squad, exactly the same as it was going into today's episode. Still got Pedersen and still got the likes of Mateju and McGuinness, as well as Benjamin, one of our other backup centre-backs. In our under-21s, we did do a few deals, or our assistant manager did a few deals for some players on free transfers, but no one who will get a lot of game time in the first team this upcoming season. So I think that will do it for today's episode. We played 2 games. That slightly embarrassing loss there against Fylde in the second round of the Carabao Cup, but we bounced back with a win over Wigan in the Championship, and then did pretty much nothing on transfer deadline day. If you enjoyed that one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Tomorrow we will come back and go forward to the month of September. We do have a South Wales derby in that month, so that is definitely a game we are going to come back for. And off the back of that, Watford are in the Championship, and when we took them on the FA Cup last season, they were 11th in the Premier League. So something went quite wrong for Watford off the back of us beating them in the FA Cup, and somehow they're in the Championship. We may as well show you guys that one as we host them as well. Hopefully can pick up back-to-back wins over those guys and get some revenge after we did lose to Swansea in our only meeting against those guys last season. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.